Hey folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Top Deck, and we'll take a look at them after round one. So today we're going to be playing with Experimental Synthesizer in Legacy, and this card has been making an absolute splash in Pauper as one of the card advantage engines to beat. And I know there's a huge power gap between Pauper and Legacy, but this card is the real deal, and I want to see if it has legs in Legacy. So when this enters or leaves the battlefield, you exile the top card of your library, and until the end of turn, you can play that card. This also has, you can sacrifice it for 2 colorless and a red to create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. So essentially, what we're going to try to do is weld this thing out of play repeatedly with Goblin Welder and Goblin Engineer, and use that as a way to kind of accrue card advantage. And we've shoved this into the Painter Shell, as that's already a place that we want to be using Goblin Welders. I took the 17th place deck from a recent challenge and changed like 3 cards in it, and we're going to run this and see how it feels. This had a Tangle Wire that I don't really think is a playable Legacy card, so I cut that. It had some colorless land that I just wanted another mana source in place of, and I think I made one other change. There's 2 other things that I kind of want to change. Enlightened Tutor is not like really a playable Legacy card, but I'm considering like running it as a one of here, because like it can help assemble the Painter Grindstone combo, and just like Urza Saga also helps smooth that out as well. It might be acceptable here. I kind of doubt it, but I'm gonna give it a try. And the other thing that I think is sketch is Bolas's Citadel. I have played a handful of Painter Leagues with this in my deck list, and I think I've never gotten it into play successfully. I think this is just like frequently going to be a dead card and just be worse than something with cycling. But I don't want to change too much of the, deck list that tended to do pretty well. I also think you could just like play a God Pharaoh statue in this spot and call it good. Like that's another card that wins games, that gives you like a good angle of attack versus combo. But we'll kind of see how it goes. As far as the sideboard, I do want to highlight one card. That's March of Otherworldly Light. This is an instant. I'm going to ignore the first part because we're probably not going to be pitching white cards while playing this deck. But essentially, it's 1 white and X, exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. So this is kind of like the prismatic ending sort of card that works when you are on an Ancient Tomb mana base. This is going to be a little slower than prismatic ending on average, but probably okay in this deck list. The other kind of recent card that I'm excited to try out is Twin Shot Sniper. When this enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. You can also channel this for 1 and a red to deal 2 damage to any target. You can channel this, kill something, and then weld it in to immediately kill another thing, and that's some super cool tech. With that said, I think I'm going to go ahead and just hop into the league here. As a heads up, I'm recording this the day the time change happened, and I'm a little sleepy. I'm a little out of it. I figured Painter is something that I've played enough that I probably won't mess up too many times when playing it. So apologies if my head is not fully on my shoulders. The show's got to go on. Anyway, if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before the video begins. That's one of the easiest ways to support my content for free. If you want to financially support my content, there's lots of ways to do so, ranging from YouTube memberships to Patreon, and all that information is in the video description. Let's battle. I will absolutely be keeping this hand. I have a lot of ways that I can play out this hand. I can start on Urza Saga and treat Painter Servant as backup, or I can start on Painter Servant and treat Urza Saga as backup. Either way, I think I am supposed to lead on Urza Saga here, because leading on Urza Saga allows me to get my Grindstone early. Alright, we're playing against Delver. The early Urza Saga is pretty strong here. Yeah, I think I'm going to play my Painter once it's a little bit safer for me to do so. This costs me some life, but I want my opponent to expend resources doing this Urza Saga fight, and then I just, like, get them with Painter later. Oh, nice. The Delver doesn't get to attack this turn. Well, I guess it technically can attack. I would rather just Pyroblast this Delver next turn. Yeah, I'll take this hit. That's fine. I'll go to 19. See what my opponent can do. Another Delver, sure. Alright, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, I'm activating this. Thinking about what comes after that. Wind Shot Sniper. I can realistically race my opponent with triple removal spell. And then, like, backdoor win with Painter at some point. Also just pick up, like, a Spell Bomb and really lean into blowing up my opponent's creatures. But I think I'm just going to grab the Grindstone. Let's do this. I'll bash in for 3. Put my opponent to 16. I think I'll just blow up Delver. Now. Like, there's Force of Negation and Daze and stuff that can matter. It's possible that I'm supposed to just ignore trying to control these threats, and I'm supposed to just, like, go for Painter combo. Alright, I can't pay for that. Fine. Wow, Delvers don't flip. That's very good for me. Okay, sure. Mox Opal is a great draw. Very, very, very happy with that. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a basic here. My mana's a little awkward here. I don't really want to tap this Ancient Tomb if I don't have to. So let's go ahead and just play a Painter's Servant. I'm going to go ahead and let my opponent do their surveilling. Alright, both went into the graveyard. We'll go ahead and counter their Force of Will. Paying a red here. Everything's blue. These are now 5/5s. Go ahead and crash in with both of these, because then I'm threatening both regular lethal damage and Painter combo kill next turn. Okay, there's the concession. That one was close. There's a lot of ways I could have played that one differently. Alright, how do I want to fight this deck? Like, do I want to be playing with more removal spells? How do I want to address this? Like, essentially, I don't want these 3 cards in my deck. I would like to board these out for other cards, if possible. I can Pithing Needle Wasteland if I want. I can play March of Otherworldly Light. This is going to be a 2-mana removal spell for Delvers and such, and it's not going to be able to hit Murktide Regent. Warping Whale is a little hard to use here, and I don't super love Warping Whale in the sideboard period. I probably should have just swapped that out for another card. Plague Engineer is not crazy, but is very situational in terms of timing. Might go ahead and do something like this and call that good. There's some other things that aren't crazy that I could do. Like, I can also leave an Enlightened Tutor just as a way to find the Ensnaring Bridge. But I'd rather not rely on Ensnaring Bridge to kill my opponent if possible. Because all it takes is one Abrade style card for that house of cards to fall apart. I have a lot of ways to find a Grindstone. I will probably go ahead and just keep this hand. I might also play Synthesizer on 1 and not get real value out of it, just to turn on Mox Opal as quickly as possible. Want to play Saga on 1? Not quite with this hand. Close. Can be a Synthesizer turn 2 hand. Just Great Furnace, Goblin Welder on 1. Don't hate that. Let's attempt that. Not gonna just play out the Mox Opal immediately. My Metalcraft isn't on this turn anyway. Upkeep. Unholy Heat, sure. Murktide hitting there means there's 2 things in the graveyard for that. Not that big of a deal. I'm just mostly happy that I'm not getting wastelanded here, if I'm being fully honest. Okay, sure. Another creature starts to be a little spooky here, yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and play Synthesizer into a Daze like this. Pyroblast. Okay. I can go ahead and cast a Mox Opal here. My Metalcraft is on. Go ahead and I'm just going to play Urza Saga and get that going. Then I'll go ahead and attempt to Pyroblast the Delver and kill it. This leaves me with 1 unused mana, but I don't think I have to just, like, rush to do things when I'm sitting on, like, the full Painter combo and another Experimental Synthesizer for value. Okay, there's a tapped Steam Vents. Plenty happy to see that. Nice. I think I'm going to go ahead and just go land drop Grindstone this turn, and then activate my Urza Saga. Again, I don't have to rush to kill my opponent. It's like, I am already ahead on board. The only reason to, like, rush to kill my opponent is to play around some sort of, like, meltdown-esque effect, which would be pretty crippling. Lightning Bolt me, absolutely. I'll go to 15. My opponent junked a Wasteland. Is a pretty good card in a lot of ways, but they might be fishing for Meltdown specifically. Murktide Regent also pretty respectable. 5/5 Murktide. Did my opponent miss damage? I didn't see whether or not they were... how many permanent types they had in there. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could attempt to combo this turn. Don't know that I need to. I just have the larger creature and I can get a Shadow Spear. Yeah. I think I'm just going to grab Shadow Spear. Yeah, 7/7. I will go ahead and play a Synthesizer here. This is still an artifact. This is until end of turn, correct? The end of turn. So I can't actually play that one. That's fine. Just trying to hit a land. Alright, so I have a lot of power in play. Basically, if I dodge Meltdown, I win. But if my opponent had Daze last turn and I went for grabbing another Mox Opal and like I got dazed, it would be so bad. Okay, there's the concession. Yeah, it felt like it was Meltdown or bust for my opponent. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this opening hand. Like, it's possible I could turn this into something decent with an experimental synthesizer, but I think there's just, like, so many other ways that I could produce a better opening hand. I'll go ahead and keep this. I'll play Goblin Welder on 1, Synthesizer on 2, and then I'll try to, like, work on welding Synthesizer in and out to get my value. This is not a hand that has the capability of comboing quickly. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play Welder out into removal. I'd rather have this around for later in the game. I could play Lotus Petal out to have access to this, but I'm not super expecting something like Show and Tell, and I don't really want my Lotus Petal to get exiled at this stage if my opponent has a Prismatic Ending and, like, for some reason wanted to Source to Plowshares this, Prismatic Ending a Lotus Petal. Like, that sort of setup would be pretty bad for me. Playing against, like, a Stoneblade deck? Yeah, or maybe like an Esper Vial deck or something like that, sure. This is annoying for me. Let's play Synthesizer before I do anything else. I found a Mox Opal, fantastic. So let's play that. Play a Lotus Petal, which now turns this on as a mana source. And I'll play a Goblin Welder. And on turns where my opponent does not hold up white mana, I can work on welding out Synthesizer. It's actually really tempting to just hit this here and just keep my opponent from smoothing out their initial opening hand. Okay, so they're straight up like a blue-white-red control deck. This is permanent, right? Or if it's a permanent, it gets a counter. Sure. Painter's Servant. Sure. I just sacrifice my Synthesizer. Create a Samurai, weld it back in at some point. Potentially get a land or other card out of it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, yeah, I get to make my land drop here. That's fantastic. Now, do I just chill or do I play this Painter? I think I'll just chill. Opponent did not tap their white mana for Lion Sash. That's fine. I'm just kind of like trying to tax this land with the existence of my other stuff. Another Brainstorm is unfortunate, because like that means I didn't get great value out of my Red Elemental Blast. Like I would have gotten more out of holding it for Painter Blast, but that's okay. I hope my opponent does not find a land that can get them white mana, because when they get more white mana, things start to get a little weird for me. Fantastic. Yeah, they can't really attack here. Great. Twin Shot Sniper. I'll straight up just like play that and nuke this thing. Absolutely. I can also just discard it. with the channel ability. Then it can't be countered. That's probably better. I shouldn't have played my land drop, though, if I was doing that. That's okay, though. Alright, so there's the channel ability. Alright, Lion Sash is targeting the twin shot sniper. Oh, my Mox Opal currently doesn't produce mana. Is it 2 damage to any target? 2 damage to any target. Sick. Alright, let's weld. Let's not let my opponent exile that. I'll weld out my Lotus Petal. The Mox Opal will be better later. Oh. I already clicked on you. Alright, so that shoots my opponent's face. Then that kills you. Hit in for 2 with my Vigilant Samurai. Opponent goes to 14. I'll go ahead and fetch. I'm going to grab a basic Plains on the off chance that my opponent has, like, a, well, not off chance, to better play around, like, a main deck Blood Moon. Everything is blue. So I have, what? I have 6 damage in play, and I have a pretty respectable Goblin Welder-based engine as well. I'm really just hoping to... Okay. I mean, that's fine. That's annoying. I'm chilling? I think I'm chilling. So, like, my opponent has temporary control of the game, but, like, that doesn't matter, because at any point, I just top deck a reasonable card, and my opponent dies on the spot. Ponder's fine. Yep. Okay, so my opponent does have non-basics. I mean, I would expect them to, right? Because, you know, that's how Legacy mana bases are built. But they are basic heavy. The question is, like, do they have back to basics or Blood Moon? Like, kind of what's their angle? Pyroblast. Do I just Pyroblast the Narset? Not let my opponent get a card out of that? Or do I hold this to try to protect a combo? I think I just Pyroblast the Narset. Like, that's pretty respectable value for me. There's also spicier lines, like, go after the plains, but those set me up for blowouts. No attacks or anything here. We're playing a patience game. Unless my opponent has, like, a sword or a Batterskull or a Cauldron or something that just, like, really breaks this game open. I'm sitting on a pretty good set of things, and I don't think my opponent can attack here, because I crack back for more than they're hitting me for. Like, that clock favors me. Never didn't have it. For mana efficiency reasons and artifact count, I think I'm fine just playing this out here. Alright, everything is blue again. Alright, I think we're just going to be passing the... Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I'll take 3. You have another one? Supreme Verdict? Batterskull. Okay. Opponent... Is Lion Sash an artifact innately? It is. Alright, so if I get a welder effect, I can, like, weld Batterskull into Lion Sash, which is probably better for me. Opponent's gonna attack with this. I think I'm just gonna treat this Samurai token as gain 4 life. If I double block, I can make my opponent waste a bunch of mana. But I don't really want my artifacts to leave play right now. Like, I have welders and opals and stuff that, like, definitely care about my artifact count. Another true name. Okay. So I just need to draw a grindstone or something that gets me a grindstone. Sure. Go ahead and play Brea's Apprentice. In case you're not familiar with this one. What we care about is the sacrifice an artifact, exile the top card of your library. Until your next turn, you may play that card. That's the part of this that I care about here. My opponent has me dead in 2 attack steps. Shit. Alright. Yeah, so my opponent attacks me for 6 this turn, and then the following turn they equip a Batterskull, and they have me dead. If that's the case, I probably don't block here, right? It's just, like, regardless of whether or not I block this turn, I'm dead next turn. So I'm just going to keep my artifact count 1 higher. This does mean if their exact last card is a Lightning Bolt, I get punished for this decision. But it seems like their removal is white. Goblin Welder is going to be too slow here. Okay. I had plenty of good top decks. And I think I navigated that game pretty well, but things just didn't work out for me. Okay. I need these Plague Engineers to deal with True Name Nemesis. I'm pretty confident about that. I feel pretty confident I don't want Bolas's Citadel. I don't think I want Enlightened Tutor versus a blue deck. I can just, like, counter this. I just want to draw my cards naturally, and I don't really want Aethersworn Canonist either. Portable Hole. Portable Hole can answer Lion Sash. Pretty mediocre versus a lot of other stuff. Don't hate Needle and March of Otherworldly Light, I guess. Could also cut Portable Hole. Whatever, but like, I kind of should expect my opponent to maybe have some like Pithing Needle, Meddling Mage type effects that like Portable Hole or March might be acceptable against. My LED is also a little worse here, but has some niche applications. I think my opponent has a lot of good interaction versus me. I'm gonna get this Needle in here for Lion Sash and equipment. And do I want March of Otherworldly Light? It's approximately as good as a Portable Hole. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut my LED and run 2 of those. This is a matchup that like probably is gonna drag on for a long time. And then in the matchups that go really long, like you don't really want that stuff. Turn 1, Opal, Pirate Spellbomb, Urza Saga. Artifact count is 2. Turn 2, play second Urza Saga. I don't like this hand. Let's mulligan this. I do like this hand. I think I'm going to pitch a... well, okay, it's kind of weird. Like, there's Moon and Back to Basics to think about, but I also need this Badlands off Arid Mesa. I basically have no white cards in my deck, though. I'm going to go ahead and bin the... Well, I guess if it's a Blood Moon, like, this still produces a color that I care about, right? I guess I can bin the Mountain here. Furnace? Furnace immediately, maybe? I could sit here and think for 10 minutes about, like, sequencing of the lands here, but I don't think I want to do that. I think it's not going to matter too much because my Goblin Welder is likely to die in the first 2 turn cycles anyway. Let's start on a synthesizer, see if I can hit a land drop or like a 0 cost off of it. Another synthesizer. Okay. Not like the best value play for me, but I can hit a 0 drop sometimes. I maybe should have fetched Badlands, because if Badlands is the exact top card of my library, it's awkward for me. That was not the case. I'll crash in for 1. And I lose out on the ability to play that Engineer, which would have been a pretty reasonable Magic card. Alright, I get to start doing some pretty cute things with Goblin Welder, though. March of Otherworldly Light. Alright, am I sacrificing immediately? I sacrifice immediately, and then I just, like, flip-flop the position of 2 of them. Yes, I do. Again, I probably should have fetched for Badlands. Alright. Alright, yeah, Mox Opal. That's exactly the sort of thing that I'm looking to hit here. I will go ahead and cast that Mox Opal until the end of turn. You may play that. I can weld these out and attempt to go deeper, hitting a 0 or 1 drop. I don't really want to hit my Badlands, though. I think I'm just going to hold this up so that I can protect my stuff from exile-based removal. Alright, Brainstorm is fine. Could technically, like, do the whole experimental synthesizer dance and try to hit a Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast, but I don't know how necessary it is to actually do that. Let that happen. I can do synthesizer stuff for value, but when it's not happening on my turn, it's a lot harder to get my value out of it. Urza's Saga is fantastic. Probably means I just hold synthesizer in play. I'm always attacking for 2. It's harder from there. Maybe I am supposed to crack the synthesizer. Alright, I'll go ahead and crack the synthesizer. It just gives me more onboard power. Alright, so there is an Arid Mesa. I don't value this Arid Mesa more than I value putting Urza Saga into play, though. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I have 4 power worth of attacking tokens anyway, and an answer to a True Name Nemesis already in play. I'm pretty happy with that. I think this is a deck that rewards reps a lot, based on what I'm feeling so far. I have a lot of decision points, and many of them are strange. Ponder's fine. Like any card that's not actively mucking with... Yeah. Alright, so how does this card work? Mana value X or less. So it would be 1 or less. So this would cost me 1 more mana to do. That's fine. Okay. Urza Saga gets to tick up. I do this. I do this. I always attack for 4. Yeah, that puts my opponent to 11. This is an instant. I don't need to do this yet. I don't want to play this out yet. I'm going to go ahead and just pass my turn here. 1, 2, this will be 3, 4, 5 total artifacts. Batter Skull. Sure. Dang it. Can I just kill my opponent if March of Otherworldly Light resolves? 2 mana, make this. 1 mana, exile a germ. I'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite, but essentially. I can also just do 6 mana and kill this, depending on what my draw is. I guess I can wait on the decision. Have to do it immediately. I will just fetch out that Badlands, I guess. I don't remember if my opponent has played a land drop yet, so I'm just going to let them go to their end step before I do anything else. Make my critter. Oh, it's such an easy tempo play to make here in removing this, though. I just click cast. X is currently 0. Let's make X 1. Buy a germ token. Force of will is fine. Found a grindstone. I always activate this again. I probably just pick up like a shadow spear here. I'll have to take a look and see what my other options are. Pithing Needle on Batterskull is not crazy either. Shadow Spear is really strong here. Alright, so I will just play out a Grindstone. I'll increase the size of my things again. Go ahead and equip to my larger construct here. Bash in for 8. And nearly kill my opponent. They're at 2. We'll see how much nonsense they can put together. Very reasonable. That bounces a construct. Sure. That still leaves the other construct. There has to be a follow-up removal spell here. Pyroblast is cool if Teferi is dead, and very awkward if Teferi is not dead, unfortunately. I'll go ahead and do my equip here. And I'm going to attempt to kill my opponent. Alright, you've got your block. Alright. Opponent goes to 3. Didn't do math to see if that was a lethal attack if I did these. That would have been 4 more damage, but my opponent could have blocked here instead. Damage would have gotten... This is awkward. This is awkward for me. Not going to play out another creature. My opponent gets to bounce the Batterskull. Lost it to Fairy. Redeploy 5 mana. Sure. New Teferi. Okay. I can't counter that because of this. Okay. You still need more, like, removal spells. You don't get to replay Batterskull here. Okay. Cool. Alright. March of Otherworldly Light was pretty respectable there. I might play one more. How do I feel about this Ensnaring Bridge? It's like another thing that helps deal with True Name Nemesis, because once that thing is in play, like, I have 2 answers to it. Ensnaring Bridge kind of makes it so that I have 3. Again, it's like a house of cards that can fall apart, though. I think I want to get one more of these in here. I got Junk Soul Guide Lantern. It's probably my least impactful tutor target. I'll buy that. This is a medium hand. It has 2 land drops, 3 mana sources. It has a decent turn 1 play, turn 2 plays. It's kind of weak on turn 3. I don't have any real ability to win the game immediately here, so what probably happens with this hand is I play Welder, Welder trades with a 1-drop removal spell, and then the rest of the hand kind of does nothing for a little while. I think I can do better. Hand's better. So the question is, how quickly do I play this hand? I think I'm going to pitch the Lotus Petal and assume that this game goes on for a little while. There's kind of the question of, like, how do I sequence my lands? Lotus Petal has returned. I think I am going to lead on Arid Mesa and fetch Badlands. And just play out my Grindstone. I don't care if the Grindstone trades with a white removal spell right now. But I want to potentially be able to play Urza Saga and Goblin Engineer next turn, and I can't do that if I just play Plains. Stoneforge is fine. The card I expected to see. Aldra. Sure. Am I just playing Synthesizer this turn? Sure. Synthesizer can be very good. Synthesizer hitting Urza's Saga. Do not mind if I do. I'm going to go ahead and cast this and cast a Goblin Engineer, I think. I'm fine giving up the Lotus Petal for this. And... okay, never mind. We don't have to think about the rest. So the big question here is opponent... yeah, okay. Opponent is just going to try and kill me with the Cauldra in 4 turns. That's reasonable. I have a decent number of top decks that deal with this in various ways. Sure. I always play this. I'm playing new Urza Saga. Next turn is 2 mana to activate this, and I'll have 1 mana left over. No, I probably play my other Urza Saga 1 turn away from now. Okay, that's fine. Like, I can just end up doing Shadow Spear shenanigans. Shadow Spear shenanigans. Okay. In order to like keep up with this thing just beating me. It becomes awkward if my opponent also has Batterskull that they just naturally drew. But I don't know to what extent I can actually play around that happening. Alright, a Welder. I don't mind that as a draw. Go ahead and reactivate. Pick up Shadow Sphere. Play Saga. Go for Equip on this. Real good if it works, but like opponent held up 3 mana in their blue-white control deck, right? So, ooh, okay. Here's the attempt. Okay, Swords of Plowshares, Swords of Plowshares. That's fine. Like, that just gives me more time. And, oh, fuck. They also have the Batterskull. Okay, that is inconvenient for me. What a sequence of cards. So basically I'm looking to combo kill my opponent now. I take 10 this turn and I'm dead next turn. I have 2, 4. If I top deck Painter, I'm 1 short of activating. That's not great for me. Yeah, 10, I go to 6. Okay. I guess I'm not dead, right? Just in a very bad spot. I've got 2 mana, activate this. I can go 2 mana, activate that, and equip it. That means that if my opponent has a removal spell, I die. But otherwise, I'm pretty safe. I can do things that have multiple bodies. I can do lines that create multiple bodies instead. Multiple body line still loses to a single removal spell, though. Like, I block Batterskull with a Goblin Welder and still take exactly 6. Okay, so I should probably just go for the line that lets me live if my opponent does not have a removal spell. Alright, not a situation I want to be in, because, like, my opponent is probably playing, like, 8 or so removal spells. Okay, Teferi pluses. Am I dead? Fetching scares me. Oh, shit. What about just Equip on Cauldra? Does Equip on Cauldra just kill me? Yeah. 9. Trample. That means my block is obligatory. And I don't gain life here. I go to 3. Alright, but I can draw a Painter and my opponent dies. Freya's Apprentice. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can put myself in a situation where I'm not dead. Not dead is good. Alright, there's my construct. What do I want? I can take a Spellbomb and get a redraw, or I can just Pithing Needle a piece of equipment. I can get Pyrite Spellbomb, shoot Stoneforge Mystic, and also get like a Lotus Petal. Play Lotus Petal, play Brea's Apprentice. That gives me more raw toughness. And another redraw next turn. I think I like that. Alright. Alright, there's Brea's Apprentice. See what opponent can do. I'm just, like, not in great shape. I guess I could draw a March of Otherworldly Light and kill the Germ token. End up in a pretty good position. Yeah, that Stoneforge doesn't get to attack. I block with my Construct, take 2. Go to 1. Not great for me. I also just die to a random thing, removing an artifact here. I want my Brea's Apprentice to sacrifice Experimental Synthesizer. Alright, I'm at 1. Opponent's at 39. Alright, that's a plateau. So, note, I know I can kill the Teferi, that's not what this is about. Sacrifice Experimental Synthesizer. Need a Painter. There's a Pithing Needle. There's a Mountain. I don't think there's any world in which I'm still alive here. I can gain 2, go to 3 life. I can Pithing Needle Teferi or another piece of equipment. Gain 3 life, go to 4. Then produce 2 toughness. Yeah, I'm just short here. GG's. See how many more turns I needed to survive. I've cycled that into this. Yeah. I needed a few more turns. I have a really tough to evaluate opening hand here, because I have an Experimental Synthesizer and double Lotus Petal to deal with to play things that I potentially find off of it, and I have Goblin Engineer to recycle it. But it's kind of a dubious engine right now, because I'm missing both sides of my combo. And if the Experimental Synthesizer were to, for example, get Force of Negation or otherwise exiled, my hand gets shut down pretty damn hard. But I'm not sure that I'm supposed to mulligan this, like, when I'm on the draw. And, like, I'm just going to get another card here. Ha ha ha, I don't have reps with this deck to know the answer to this question. Let's keep and see where this goes. Like, part of me, like, picking this deck list to play was specifically so that I could see how good Experimental Synthesizer is, and, like, this situation is a... Okay. This is opponent's turn. Opponent's turn. And they have just done nothing, so they are potentially playing a degenerate combo deck of their own. I'm gonna play Experimental Synthesizer next turn. Let's do this. I think I'm gonna put my Lotus Petals into play. I don't care about anything like Storm, and I'm not expecting my opponent to get rid of them. Okay, sure. Okay, we're playing against, like, oops, all spells. Alright. So my opponent was a single mana source away from going off. Oh, okay. Nope, they do have it. Sure, so they're gonna go ahead and sacrifice that. Sure, I see the Thassa's Oracle. I see a Dread Return, so I am indeed dead. That's unfortunate. I don't get too much for this deck. I can Plague Engineer for Narcomoebas in the circumstances where they don't actually have Bridge from Below. Don't know that they'll know to play around Plague Engineer from my deck. I have Graft Digger's Cage. I'm going to put the things that I can be thinking about here. Torpor Orb does stuff. Pithing Needle does stuff. Warping Whale technically does stuff, but is a little sketch. Surgical does stuff. Mindbreak Trap does stuff. March is and probably doesn't come in. I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want you. Portable Hole can exile mana sources, but this is a lot of stuff if I board in all of this. Plague Engineer is maybe too niche. And, like, sometimes just does nothing. I don't know how my opponent sideboards in a vacuum. Probably get away without Brea's Apprentice. My blasts are very good once a painter is in play. Like, exceptionally good. I feel like this is too many cards to sideboard in. I'm going to leave the Plague Engineers in the sideboard. What's our heart at this point? I go down blasts. If I go down blasts, I have a couple of catch-alls for a Painter Servant situation. Oh, there's also this stuff. I don't need Pirate Spellbomb or Shadow Spear. I need neither one of those cards. I can keep some blasts in those spots, and that's probably fine. So this can play a Painter on turn 1 and hold up Pyroblast for future turns. I don't actually think this hand is particularly good, though. I'm going to fish harder. This one's tough. I have a Surgical, which helps. And I have both pieces of my combo. If I draw mana, I get to kill my opponent very quickly. I'll keep this and junk one of my non-playable cards. But it's very possible this hand isn't good enough. Alright. Boom. Painter's Servant. Everything's blue. Your go. Okay. Bang the life. Okay. Alright, there's green mana off a Spirit Guide. That's 3 mana for an Undercity Informer, absolutely. And you sacrifice it immediately. Summoner's Pact. The Summoner's Pact is going to go and get a Spirit Guide so that they can go ahead and activate that. So that's fine. I kind of need my opponent to not have like a Pact of Negation here. Alright, I don't know how many packs they're playing. There's one. They could have another. So I guess I'll just surgically extract the Narcomoebas and call it good. Alright. Let's see if they've got a pact. Okay, they did not have the pact. So that means they are playing one pact. Okay, they do have Bridge from Below in the deck in this configuration. They've got some Nature's Claim and Force of Vigor type stuff. Okay, good to know. If they are playing packs, my Pyroblasts become more valuable. I go down 1 Goblin Engineer for 1 more Pyroblast on the draw, I think. Oh, God. Why do you do this to me? So, this is a hand that has double Mindbreak Trap to start off, but the rest of the hand does nothing else. And Mindbreak Trap doesn't always do stuff, and Mindbreak Trap can get caught up by Cabal Therapy. I think this is... oh, God. Like, if I spike a land, this is totally fine. I'm gonna mulligan. This is absolutely reasonable. I'll keep this hand and probably pitch Goblin Engineer here. Keep my mana sources. Alright, seems like my opponent's not gonna do anything on turn 1. Alright, my current plan is Enlightened Tutor maybe for Aethersworn Canonist at end of turn. I can get like Aethersworn Canonist or Torpor Orb. I also just could get Painter. Regardless, I'm casting this. I also could just get Grafdigger's Cage. Grafdigger's Cage is pretty reasonable. Yeah, I don't know how aggressively my opponent mulliganed in this game for Pieces of Hate. This leaves up both Pyroblast and Surgical without costing me life. I don't need to ram the Grindstone out immediately. Ooh, it seems like they have a Force of Vigor. Or at least there was a pause like there was potentially one. Opponent is on the hard discard plan. Cabal Ritual, okay. Grindstone's a little awkward here. Because, like, playing it out essentially does me little good. And just, like, opens this up to another thing that potentially beats it. I'm not going to play out the Grindstone and the Mox Opal yet. Just, like, purely in the control role right now. The thing playing out the Grindstone does is let me, like, manually mill my opponent and try to fish for cards that I can Surgical out. This, I am totally fine with playing. Okay. Painter. Alright. Go ahead and cast that. Now I have Metalcraft. I'll leave up Badlands, I guess. Play Painter. Everything's blue. Now my Pyroblast is a hard counterspell for everything. And I have Grindstone combo for next turn. And I, like, deal with a Force of Vigor via a Pyroblast here. Yep. So I think opponent was supposed to junk Grafdigger's Cage and, like, my Mox in response to this so that this exact line doesn't happen. Because this is pretty damning. It also wouldn't be crazy to surgically extract Force of Vigor here. But, like, I probably lose to potential Nature's Claim-based lines, not Force of Vigor-based lines here. Alright, there's a Grindstone. Go ahead and attack for 1. Then I'll activate Grindstone in my opponent's upkeep when Force of Vigor is no longer a thing that matters. Yeah. You may have your Narcomoebas. You know what? No. Can't have your Narcomoebas. I'm taking them. Not because it matters, but because I can. Hey folks, Phil here with a quick announcement. Most of this week is going to be me attempting to 5-0 with Death and Taxes for $300. I get 3 tries in order to do that. And because these are likely to take quite a while to record, especially if I'm in like absolute try-hard mode, I'm probably not going to have time to record a ton of videos this week, especially since I'm doing some charity work. So just wanted to give you a heads up that there's probably not going to be a Friday video. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, and did you like the video yet? Like, just saying, it helps. I'm a little mana. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I'm a little mana light here. I'm on the draw. I can potentially draw a land, and like this hand looks pretty good. But otherwise, I end up like awkwardly playing Pyrite Spellbomb and like having that sit on the board, hoping Experimental Synthesizer hits a land. I think a lot of 6-card hands end up looking about the same as this. Yeah, this is great. The Canonist is one of the least useful, just generic cards in the main deck, so I'm going to go ahead and bin that one here. Probably a turn 2 Urza Saga, not a turn 1. Turn 1/1. Oh, opponent sends me some nice words. Good luck to you two. Chalice. Chalice is not all that damning here. I'm very glad I didn't keep the first hand in facing down Chalice, though. The first hand was just like essentially 2 1-mana cantrips that would have been shut off by this. Second Urza Saga. Okay. What am I doing with my life? Can't really play Urza Saga effectively this turn. I'm just going to grab a basic mountain here. Didn't really need to fetch immediately, though, I guess. They don't have Metalcraft, and I can't play this because of the Chalice. Yeah, I shouldn't have fetched there. I do think I am supposed to play out the Mox Opal, though, in case Chalice on 0 becomes a follow-up, which, given this deck, it wouldn't, but I didn't know that at the time. All right, so my opponent is on an 8-cast type deck, which means I have to be afraid of Kappa Cannoneer coming in and just, like, ruining my life. All right, play Experimental Synthesizer. Nope, Chalice. I just, like, drag these the fuck over here so I don't accidentally play one. All right, do that. I'm gonna play Goblin Engineer. And I think I'm gonna use this to find a painter. Like, there's other things I can do. I can go, like, Bolas's Citadel deep here, but I think painter potentially allows me to win the game pretty quickly. I wish my artifact count was higher so this Mox Opal was on. Like, next turn I can make a creature. Oh, no, maybe next turn I just weld. Like, weld Mox Opal out, turn it into painter, create a construct, and then just goldfish my opponent next turn. They probably can't kill me with damage next turn. Like, unless they get a Kappa into play this turn. They get a Kappa into play this turn. I'm pretty screwed. Okay, that gives them a Thopter, but, like, innately gets countered. That means I can fish that out next turn, though, which is not great for me. Go to 18. All right. Still got all this Urza Saga. I play one of these. Now, the Spellbomb can't come back. The Kappa can come back. So essentially, I need my opponent not to end up with a Force of Will. Or no, the Force of Will effect doesn't matter. My opponent has to just kill me next turn. Yeah, I think I'm actually good. Not 100% sure. But I don't see how I die. I guess a Karn. A Karn the Great Creator shutting off my ability to answer a Grindstone that does it. Alright. Emery is fishing out Bauble. That's fine. The fact that none of my stuff can be interacted with here via Force of Will or Force of Negation is really strong. And, like, these mono blue Chalice decks are not known for their ability to go and interact with stuff on the board, especially in game 1. Yeah, so I can take this damage. Opal's fine. Urza Saga is too slow. Goblin Engineer, swap Painter, or Mox Opal. Everything's blue. Opponent can draw a card here. I float some mana with some Urza Sagas. Put a Grindstone into play. We'll play a new Grindstone. Activate Grindstone, targeting you. Do you have some sort of bounce spell for the Painter? No. Hot damn. Whew. I guess I can take a look at my opponent's whole deck here as well. There's Otawara that I need to be aware of. That's something that I would not have likely remembered to have played around, so I'm glad I got to take a quick look at that. Yeah, opponent's deck list looks pretty stock here. Plague Engineer for Thopters sounds cool. I have a handful of things that do stuff that I can board in that are all like a little bit awkward for various reasons. Like Surgical can fight graveyard-based stuff, but is vulnerable to Chalice, which my opponent is probably keeping in. Opponent says, so I'm betting on a transformational sideboard. I would never. What do I want? I think I 100% want all of the March of Otherworldly Lights to help clear out things like Chalices. I think I 100% want Plague Engineers for Thopters. And then, like, Needle, Cage, Warping Whale, Mindbreak Trap, Surgical all have, like, niche applications that I probably don't care about too much. I'm gonna junk Bolas's Citadel here. One-shot Sniper doesn't kill a bunch of the things that I care about, but is kind of a neat way to kill through an Ensnaring Bridge. I guess I have the Painter combo to kill through Ensnaring Bridge. I have a lot of blasts that just can counter my opponent's cards outright. Canonist doesn't look great here. Just trying to combo kill my opponent. I'm also trying to decide whether or not I want to play Portable Hole. Like, Portable Hole misses out on a lot of things that matter and doesn't actually answer a Chalice on one, but it can answer, like, 0-mana artifacts that are played out. I think I don't want that. I'm unsure about Lion's Eye Diamond. It helps me Goldfish faster in some circumstances, which, like, definitely matters. Very unsure on the last card here. His Apprentice? Freya's Apprentice can potentially go. Like, it's slow. Hand's okay. Does this win? Does this win on the draw is the better question. So turn 1, just like play a Welder. Turn 2, I March of Otherworldly Light something, play an Urza's Saga. Turn 3, if I hit a land drop, I play an Urza's Saga. Like, the hand's whatever. It's capable. I don't know that it wins. So, like, do I want to mulligan to something that interacts with my opponent better or, like, has a better chance at winning? The thing is, if I draw a Painter with this hand, like, I can play Grindstone on turn 1, draw Painter, LED combo win on turn 2. But that would be a really all-in play and would lose to, like, a force effect. This one's tough. I think I'm going to ship it. What does this one do? This one has a Pyroblast to start with, so I'm not just, like, as immediately dead to a Kappa. I think I like this hand better. I'm going to keep this and probably pitch a Pyrite Spellbomb here. This hand is a little softer to a Chalice. My opponent has gone to 5 cards. If I eat a Chalice, I end up having to win this game more or less single-handedly with an Urza's Saga, unless I draw a March of Otherworldly Light to get a Chalice out of play or something. Maybe I undervalued Goblin Welder in my mulligan decisions, just like the ability to fuck with my opponent's stuff. Alright, we'll see. Alright, Petal is fine. That's more card disadvantage for my opponent. Just gonna, like, Sigh turn 1. Emery turn 1, sure. I will Pyroblast that very, very happily. Soul Guide Lantern, yep. Okay, I think my opponent ended up, like, mulliganing too deeply. I'm not saying their mulligan decisions were wrong or anything. Oh, this is obligatory. Yeah. I'm not saying their mulligan decision was wrong or anything, but I think they mulliganed deeply, and as a result, they're probably going to end up losing. Alright, Mountain, Junk, and Emery. Like, I have any reason not to play this out, and, like, playing it out helps in some, like, weird, like, oops, my last 2 cards are LED and Echo spots. This is, potentially a very sad Crack Soulguide Lantern situation to draw a card immediately. God, nope, they're gonna hold the Soulguide Lantern in play. That's fine. You can draw your card. March, sure. I'm gonna play Synthesizer here. Like, it's possible I'm supposed to just hold up the Pyroblast, but, like, this can just be so good. A red Elemental Blast. Not what I'm looking for. I wanted a land. Alright, so I'll just play my Urza's Saga. These experimental synthesizers are essentially just, like, working towards my Metalcraft count to turn on Mox Opal. I don't know that I'm going to get, both constructs out of this Urza Saga. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I guess if my opponent's last card is... They were starting to pay costs. What do they have? Alright, there's a land drop. Okay. I can just play land drop. This is my 3rd artifact, so I still have Pyroblast up. That's fantastic. Alright, they have their own Urza Saga, which I might just end up pithing Needling in the position that I'm in now. The Thought Monitor is a Thought Monitor. I will absolutely respond by Pyroblasting that. Not going to give my opponent the draw 2 in this situation. What does this hit? Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. Oh, so I can also just, like, 1 mana Urza Saga answer this with Mox Opal. That's pretty cute. That's really cute, actually. Yeah. Alright, cool. I want to pick up a Soulguide Lantern. Or do I just want to pick up half my combo? I would just want to pick up a Soulguide Lantern. And cash it in for a card later. Or I can just, like, keep one of the scarier things from coming back repeatedly. Okay, I don't need to do that. Cast. One might when, yep, okay. Just 1 mana nuke and Urza Saga. That feels gross. Bash in for 5. On it goes to 11. GG's Phil, can't wait to watch the video of my sadness. GG's. What's my record now? I have totally lost track of time. Okay, I'm 3-1. Fantastic. Looking at a medium opening hand, I have half a combo represented slowly in the form of Enlightened Tutor. I don't really have any good plays for the beginning of the game. Like, if I spike Grindstone on turn 1, like, the rest of the hand's real cute, right? Like, Grindstone 1, Enlightened Tutor, Painter 2, like, use LED to activate it. I think I'm just gonna ship this. Like, this deck has so many good opening hands. Now, this isn't one of them, but it has so many good opening hands. Fantastic. Keep this, throwing back 1 Arid Mesa and I guess, like, Soulguide Lantern. Actually, maybe like sacrificing Soulguide. Yeah. Let's be real, I'm not winning this with Goblin Engineer. I'm winning this with just, like, activating Urza Saga and just eating my opponent with that card, because it's broken. See what we draw. Opal. Opal's not bad. I don't mind that. So, land, Shadow Spear. It's resolved. We're playing against Delver. It doesn't matter too much whether or not I keep this Opal in hand now or not. No end of turn Brainstorm or anything. Tropical Island. Seen a Trop in play in a hot minute. Saw a Rug Delver deck a week or so ago in some challenge results. Do I want to play a Goblin Engineer into a Daze? I don't play it now. I'm not going to play it for the next couple of turns unless I get Wastelanded as well. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play this here. Pretty high upside to resolving. And if it doesn't resolve, I don't super care. Because, like, I have onboard Urza Saga. The world in which I care about this is in which, like, this is, like, 2 mana Daze into Wasteland Urza Saga. Alright, there's the 2 mana Daze. That's fine. There's the Wasteland. That's unfortunate. Alright, there's a Tarmogoyf. Good old 4-5 beater. Welder's pretty sick here. I'm gonna play this. My opponent can be playing Stifle. I am going to respect the fuck out of Stifle here. I have a couple of white cards that I very much would like to cast if I draw them. I have a Mox Opal, though. I'm gonna go ahead and just get another basic mountain here. Don't have to cast the white cards that I draw immediately. And I would very much like to not eat a Stifle here. Need to put an artifact into my graveyard so I can start doing Goblin Welder shenanigans. Synthesizer! Oh, baby. Pauper specifically wants me to play Ancient Tomb out ahead of time. But me hitting a land wants me to not do that. Decountering this sucks because, like, Goblin Welder, right? Yeah. Painter's Servant. Hell yeah. Let's go land. Lay out Painter's Servant. Everything's blue. How much are these? Fours? Fours, sure. They become 5s if I put an artifact into the graveyard. That's fine. The big question is, like, do I just weld? I guess my welder can eat a lightning bolt here and life becomes hella awkward, huh? Okay. I can draw a grindstone and my opponent dies. Just throwing it out there. Like, that's a thing that can happen here. I'm at 7. I can't die to double bolt. His third Tarmogoyf is scary. Synthesizer into grindstone? Synthesizer into grindstone is exactly a kill. Kind of worried that my opponent has a Force of Will, though. They, like, paused for a while and thought last turn. I don't think I beat Force of Will on this card. Well, I don't think I beat Force of Will on any card, right? Bell Pierce. Yikes. Okay. I don't like it. I'll pay for it. I have to hit, like, blasts now, maybe? Land. I don't think that does it. Equipping this doesn't keep me alive. I have to sacrifice this, make a 2/2. Alright, Spellbomb's not gonna do much for me here. Can't cast it. Oh wait, shit, these are 5/6s now. If these are 5/6s now, I'm just dead. I blocked 2 of these and I died to the last one. Oops. Not a lot to be done there. Triple Tarmogoyf start is horrifying. So I probably need these March of Otherworldly Lights for Tarmogoyf because, like, the Twin Shot Sniper type cards are not gonna deal with that. Neither is Portable Hole for that matter. I can also consider Plague Engineer as something that can just trade with a Tarmogoyf. I don't want Bolas's Citadel. I maybe want Pithing Needle for Wasteland. I don't want Canonist. I don't want Enlightened Tutor. I probably don't want Portable Hole. My opponent's pretty likely to have a bunch of threats like Nimble Mongoose, True Name Nemesis that are kind of a pain in the butt. But this is good versus Tarmogoyf. I guess I keep it. Maybe I'd get rid of Twin Shot Sniper, but, like, that's uncounterable for the things like Delver, so yeah. Alright, Spellbomb feels medium. Like, it has places where it'll be good. Unquestionably. I don't think I actually want it. Like, I would rather have these and these as a starting point first, and then it's a question of, like, do I trim some other stuff to get Plague Engineers in there for more answers to Tarmogoyf? Right now I have 3 Marches, Portable Hole, Ensnaring Bridge, and kind of Soul Guide Lantern. I don't super want LED. That can get me a Plague Engineer. And I think I can go down one of these for one of those and, like, be acceptable with that. I could also, like, play the Blood Moon, but my Urza Sagas are really good here. Awkward. This is a hand that does nothing right now, but has removal and the ability to play around opposing mana denial pretty easily. My opponent's on a multiple threat hand or a Nimble Mongoose hand, though I absolutely eat it with keeping this hand. I'm going to try to find something that is just objectively more powerful. This ain't it, but I think I need to keep this on 6, and I'll just get rid of Lotus Petal. Opponent is going to 5. So I think I am going to start by fetching a basic mountain. The off chance that this gets countered. I would not expect this to get countered, but I really do not want this to get countered. Go ahead and name Wasteland. Yes, there is a world where I can, like, spike the correct fetch land and just immediately shut down my opponent's 5-card hand by, like, naming a Scalding Tarn or a Misty or something, but, having my Urza Sagas be unassailable sounds really good. Synthesizer. Am I just playing that? I kind of want to wait a turn to play that. Just, like, do this here. Play a Grindstone, play Synthesizer next turn when my opponent maybe doesn't have mana up. Brainstorm, end of turn is fine. Alright. So let's see if my opponent has an early Tarmogoyf. Oh, they've got a Delver. I absolutely have an answer to that, just like chilling in hand. We got a Petal, sure. I guess I should play Petal. Like, a Meltdown is the reason not to. Fetch. Grab a Badlands. I guess I can go to my opponent's turn and do this there for 2 mana. I don't want to play Synthesizer yet. I'll do it now. Like, I guess this gave them a Scry. A Brainstorm. Do not want to exile any of these. X is currently 1. That's fine. I don't feel too bad about giving them the Scry, but, like, maybe it was wrong. If I play it on my turn, though, like, I have Force of Negation to think about, and, like, their soft counters, like, being used with their own mana. Meltdown. Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned that. I think that's too early of a Meltdown, though, to be good, honestly. Like, I think they could have sandbagged that for longer. March. Okay. I don't have Metalcraft for this anymore, so I can't just immediately sacrifice this, unfortunately. Tarmogoyf is a very good follow-up to an empty board. Snaring Bridge. Hey. Hey, just saying. Just saying. I want to hit another land drop before playing this. I'm willing to take 4 damage or so to just, like, try and play that around days. This card's very important. I'm treating this as a 2/2 that maybe lets me hit my land drop. Not let me hit my land drop, unfortunately. Don't have Metalcraft. That's fine. I will take Surgical Extraction on Grindstone. That's incredibly aggressive. I mean, so was the Meltdown for 3 largely do-nothing cards. Twin Shot Sniper in my sideboard right now? No. Okay, I've still got Twin Shot Sniper. Like, that's a very reasonable way to just win a game. Okay. I could also just, like, kill my opponent with a bunch of Samurai. I am surprisingly not threatened by this move that my opponent has made. But this is going to be one of those, like, buckle up games. I can't just, like, concede this one and go on to the next one because I'm down a game here. I think my chances of winning this one are low, but not 0. Like, Urza Saga is still a hell of a drug. I do not think you are supposed to fire off that Wasteland there. I think you are supposed to save that basically exclusively for Urza Saga, because that's, like, you saw my deck, you saw my win conditions. That's one of the primary ways that you can actually lose at this point. All right, crash in for 2. Opponent goes to 15. I will do this here. This is worth my life. Let's see if you have a counterspell. Okay. Pitching a Snare. Alright, so this turn I probably cash in this Samurai for 4 life. Try to buy time so that I can get this back into play with a Welder. Jesus, what an aggressive draw. I think I'm basically dead now. Don't think my opponent played this game super well, but I also don't think it matters. Like, red decks historically are very bad versus Tarmogoyf. Like, 8 go to 4. I have to deal with both these Tarmogoyfs or otherwise stop them. Alright. Unfortunate. I needed 1 more turn. And I have, like, Goblin Welder, get Bridge for Opal. And I'm safe for a while. Such is life. GG's. So I end up 3-2 in this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Pretty good, but, like, basically, I kind of confirmed all of my thoughts throughout this league. I don't think Bolas's Citadel is good. I think Enlightened Tutor is incredibly slow and not really a playable card. And I don't really know that it's worth being in another color for the things that are in the main deck here. Like, the March of Otherworldly Light out of the sideboard was pretty respectable. Like, that was a great way to junk Urza's Sagas and such. But, like, there's a 3-color strain on the mana base since, like, you're running this Badlands for these sideboard Plague Engineers, and I guess the pipe dream of being able to hardcast a Bolas's Citadel. Yeah, I basically agree with everything I said in the deck tech. Like, I should have just edited this deck a little bit more than what I did. I also said this at some point during the league. I don't really like the sideboard Warping Whale. I think mathematically it's just a little too hard to cast to be good. Like, I get that you want something that can be a sideboard card that also can, like, hard counter a Show and Tell or something like that. I think your plan against a lot of those decks is just going to be race them anyway. Twin Shot Sniper was pretty impressive in this league, and the synergy between Brea's Apprentice and Experimental Synthesizer is pretty dope. I definitely think you can put together a deck that is just like Synthesizer, Brea's Apprentice, these Goblin Engineers, and Welders, and like go a little bit harder in that direction. And you can even do that just by like cutting the white cards here, right? Like, you could play 4 Brea's Apprentice by going like 1, 2, 3, 4, like, and that alone allows you to change your mana base, right? So, like, if you're a person of the painter variety, like, maybe be thinking about doing something like that. Or just other sacrifice outlets that really let you grind with Experimental Synthesizer. Like, this card was very real in this league, by Legacy standards, not Pauper standards. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button on your way out. If you have any thoughts about the deck list, go ahead and throw those in the comments. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!